Okay, Charles Glesing Jr.
Junior.
So here we are. We're in the family home in a way because Carl Glesing was your.
Grandfather.
He was your grandfather, and he built and he designed it.
Designed it and built it in the 30s, and for his family, they moved just from 4315 North College to this when it was built. Lived in the basement while they finished the first and second floors.
That's
above.
amazing.
Then when he passed away in the early 50s, they converted it. My grandmother had
54, I think.
They converted it into apartments, so she would have some kind of
Income, right?
So when I was a little kid in the 50s, Frances Farmer was one of the tenants who lived in the upstairs apartment, and of course she had a distinguished movie career in Hollywood. But then at that point in time was the hostess for Frances Farmer Presents on Channel 6, and she lived here. Now to us as little kids, she was just Frances Farmer who lived upstairs. We didn't fully appreciate or comprehend her notoriety as a movie actress.
Right.
And we knew she was on TV, but she was still just the lady that lived upstairs. And as kids, it was no big deal. But she and my mom became very good friends, living here in the same house and everything, and just, became good friends, and we were good friends with her.
And your mom's name was?
Ellen Glesing.
Ellen Glesing. Yeah.
And she's in the book that was written about Frances by her subsequent friend Jean. Mom is mentioned, and we're kind of briefly mentioned as all the kids.
The kids that got along, yeah,
and everything. So that then she moved out somewhere out to a farm for a while, then ended up relocating to I think it was around 53rd and Broadway, where she lived until she passed away. So like I said, so that was kind of one of our claims to fame, was that Frances Farmer lived in our house, same house we lived in one of the other apartments.
Now, your grandmother lived in this unit?
She lived in, this was considered apartment 2.
Right, back in the day.
Back in the day, the doorway was here. And of course there were walls that were put in place to separate rooms and make a bedroom and turn the sunroom into a kitchen. Where the fountain was turned into a bathroom because they had some plumbing there. So this was her apartment.
And it was in some ways the nicest apartment, and in some ways it was also the smallest apartment.
Right. Because as a single person, she didn't need much room.
Right. And how old was she when she was?
She was in her 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Probably she was in her 40s when it was converted. She passed away in 1973. I think she was born in 1896, so she was in her mid to late 70s when she passed away. And at that time, like I said, we lived here as kids in the late 50s. Lived elsewhere in the 60s and moved back into here in the 70s.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school in the 70s, we occupied apartment 1 again.
Yes.
My brother and I lived in the basement, which was a room that was a kitchen down there.
The old maid's kitchen.
The old maid's was our bedroom. Yeah. And there was a shower down there and a couple other rooms and all that stuff.
God, it's got a real significance to the family over the years.
Very significant. Like I said, we lived in here. My family two different times. One of the upstairs apartments, one of my sisters lived in as her own apartment for a while, and everything. So
wow,
it's just a unique structure that the way it was built, with the poured concrete, the cement block. That Grandpa was a cement contractor, so he didn't hold back. He put all the best materials and had everything done. And what you taught us about some of the exterior bricks and the limestone, the signature of the limestone mason brick